Doghouse Racing League is proud to be sponsored by Shoney's. Shoney's is today's all-American kitchen, open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Shoney's guests can count on quality, delicious food along with warm, friendly service. Stop by one of the West Virginia locations to try their freshly prepared legendary breakfast bars. And don't forget to take home a whole strawberry pie. Shoney's, delicious food and friendly service since 1947. Are you looking for sports merchandise for your favorite teams, apparel, jerseys, headwear, hard goods, and looking to be involved with NASCAR? Fanatics is your one-stop shop. Fanatics is partnered up with all major professional sports leagues, as well as hundreds of collegiates and pro teams. Join them now at Fanatics. And if you use the link down below in the description, you'll be able to help out the Doghouse Racing League. While using that link, all commissions go to the Doghouse Racing League, which helps fund prizes and goods for the drivers out on track. Thank you so much for Fanatics, and enjoy the show! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Thursday night as the drivers of the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series get prepared to tackle Kansas Speedway in the Next Gen Cup cars for race number 13 of the 2024 Season 1. It's the Smart Donkey Shop 180 here tonight, as this is the fourth to last race of the season, and the points starting to crunch down. We got our three favorites to watch out for here this evening, and a lot of other drivers hoping to maybe steal some higher points positions, but a track that is going to be bringing a lot of side-by-side racing and maybe a little bit of carnage. We'll have to see if the drivers can hold on as we are entering into qualifying. But for tonight, again, thank you for joining with us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me up in the booth is Zach Hall. And Zach, tonight, I know a lot of drivers are excited for it. We're back to the mile-and-a-half races.
That we are, Sam. Mile-and-a-half racing in Kansas Kansas Speedway, to be exact. This is by far, if not the top tier, I think, of the mile-and-a-half program, or mile-and-a-half tracks we have here on iRacing when it comes to especially this next-gen car. I think they're going to have tons of opportunities, tons of different options on the racetrack, and I think we're going to get to see quite a show underneath us tonight, because it's going to start here with qualifying with high speeds, and it's going to be very much a very close-knit racing for sure all night.
Been hearing a lot of drivers thinking the outside lane is the preferred spot to be, so we're going to be seeing a lot of drivers trying slide job moves, some maybe grazing the wall and could cause some calamity, but this track in the past has been ran 3 times previously, back in 2022 Season 2, 2023 Season 2, and last season for 2023 Season 3. And what's crazy about that, there's only been 1 caution over those 3 races. Tonight has an opportunity of being a race where we can go caution free, but with the way the season's been, I don't know if that's going to be the case, as we are getting some of these first lap times, and it's going to be Michael Lekwich top of the board for now for lap number 1, but expecting to see this ticker board move quickly as drivers are starting their first laps.
That's exactly right. Looking for that to change very, very fast, but I'll tell you what, it's going to be very interesting to see. Like you said, the outside line seems to be the dominant line. I was watching in practice. A lot of guys were up on that top groove. I will say, has anybody tuned their car to find that clean air on the bottom? I think that could be critical, because, yeah, you want to be fast up top, but you're going to need to be able to make passes. So the drivers that can make the bottom work will be quick. But like you said, Sam, that leaderboard is changing quickly. Is Michael Hayes with a quick time right now.
Michael Hayes trying to grab a pole sitter award for himself. We've only had 4 drivers this season grab a pole, being Jonathan Jennings with 6 pulls, Kevin Thompson 3, Adam Garner swept the super speedways with 2, and Jamie Horn with 1. Few drivers are hoping to grab maybe their first pole this season, as Chris Leftwich going to be top of the board with a 29.554 time for himself. Few drivers trying to see what extra speed they can find for themselves, as you see Brandon Fetterplace. Haven't seen him. He missed out last week's running, but this 20 machine excited to be back out on course, as he's really, since joining halfway through the season, been a favorite inside of our top 5 as he comes across the line for lap number 1. It's going to be a 29.9 for Fetter Place's first lap. See if he can gain any more positions for himself on his second lap as Chris Leftwich still top of the board and trying to get his first pole of the season. And it might be possible here, Zach, with some of the top contenders not putting down as fast as a lap as we've seen before.
Like you said, Sam, I think it's very much possible for him for sure. Is we're seeing it looks like Federplay is going to come around here to complete his lap. We'll see where that's going to place him on the board here. Right now, it was 29th. That's going to place him up around the 10th position there with that time. Sorry, 11th with that time. But looking for the likes of Kevin Thompson, maybe Andrew St. Cyr on those second laps to find some speed. I think St. Cyr's going to be crossing the line this time. 29.63. Not enough there, Sam.
Not enough, but good enough for a top 5 run for himself. And Andrew St. Cyr going to be a driver to watch out for. He is the winner of the last 2 times they've been at this course. He's trying to go 3 for 3 every time that he's attempted to run at Kansas here in the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. But the main driver of the night and most of the season, Kevin Thompson, on starting up lap number 1, about to be concluding his first lap. This 6 machine been top of the points, had a couple of falters these last couple of weeks of not finishing instead of the top 5. This 6 has seen that lead diminish slightly in the points battle, but this 6 machine obviously going to be a favorite to watch out for. 27th on the board with a 30.1 lap time for lap number 1. But here we go, Zach. Can Kevin Thompson find the pole here tonight?
He got up into the wall, I think. I don't know if he got a 0x. If he did, folks, that would invalidate the lap, but I think he might. Sometimes you can get lucky and get into the wall and not get that 0x, but we'll see if the lap time counts when he comes out of 4 here. But at least, if anything, lost some speed out of 2.
Grazing the wall and across the line, hoping for a fast number, and it will not be it. Invalidated time for Kevin Thompson. We got a new pole sitter this season, and it's the 8 machine of Chris Leftwich, coming off of an incredible race last week at Dover, where Chris Leftwich finishes in 2nd place, and the week after finds himself top of the board as Kevin Thompson timed it perfectly with the way qualifying was finishing up. But that grazing the wall, Zach, really gonna hurt that 6 machine once again. Another week where Kevin Thompson's got to work through the field.
That he is. He's gonna have to slowly and methodically and just be really smart about it first off, because if you aren't smart with the way you work your way through that field, you will quickly get yourself caught up in something. So it's going to be a long night for that 6 machine. We've seen him do it before, so no doubt he can do it once again. But yeah, like I said, Chris Leftwich, man, what a job by him to get on that pole position for the first time. And like you said, coming off that 2nd place finish, that's great momentum. But also just even looking at the times, I mean, he didn't just beat them, he almost beat them by a full 10th of a second.
Almost shattering speed that we got to see the 8 machine put down, and we'll talk more about it later on. But first, let's take a look at how the points have been running so far this season. Talked about how Kevin Thompson is still the points leader, but it is starting to shrink after Andrew St. Cyr grabbing his first win last week at Dover. It is really cut into this battle for the lead. Kevin Thompson still leading the way, but only by 48 points. And Michael Hayes, he's still in distance and a chance to win this championship. The 22, though, 147 points from that championship battle. Still a lot of work for Hayes after his mistakes last week, not the finish he wanted, but with just 4 races left in the season, it's still wide open for this championship.
Still wide open for the championship, and I even looked at, like, from 10th to 4th position. I mean, you're only looking at 103 points separating from 4th to 10th. So very, very close in that battle there for those drivers to try to find their way into maybe that top 5 points position. That's always great to end your season on. But like you said, Sam, I think it comes down to those top 3 and mostly the top 2.
2 different battles to watch out for as this season is slowly coming to a conclusion. As take a look at how the schedule has been so far this season. Again, it ran 12 races. The first race was the duels, where we got to see that of Adam Gardner take the pole award for the first race and round number 2 at Daytona. But only 4 more races left. We've got tonight, and then we take a 2-week break before we come back for the final 3 races of the season. Zach, it's crazy to think that the season's almost over already.
It is crazy to think that we've gone through, what now, 11 races up to this point here. And I mean, we got a great one on the hands tonight here at Kansas, but I think when we come back with Darlington, North Wilkesboro, and Charlotte, those 3 are going to be the title deciders. I mean, if anything, if it keeps it close here tonight and we close in that battle, those 3 races really could determine everything and what tracks to do it on, man. I'd say it's going to be a great 4-race stretch, and these next 2 weeks that these drivers have off after this week are going to be so important to those 3 races.
Past seasons, we've already could say we crowned a champion with the way that Jonathan Jennings has dominated the last 2 seasons, but this season, still a wild card. With these final 3 races, we may not know who's got the championship until the final race at Charlotte. But for tonight, we're excited for all the great racing action we're going to be seeing here at Kansas. The drivers going to be on top of one another, and it's going to be great racing action you do not want to miss. So if you haven't already, remember, hit the like button and hit the share button to share our broadcast to make sure we get as many eyes out here as possible, so the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series can have more numbers to share with their amazing sponsors and show out all the great things that this league brings for you, the viewers. I also want to say thank you to today's race sponsor, that being Smart Donkey Shop. Do you want to show off your personality with unique and maybe a little crazy design? Do you need a sarcastic or quirky gift for a coworker, friend, or family member? Well, head on over to Smart Donkey Shop today, as it covers for t-shirts, decals, mugs, and tumblers just for you. They carry a wide selection of funny icons with anywhere from Bigfoot, skulls, hilarious hunting shirts, as well as more. Go ahead on over to their Etsy shop at www.smartdonkeydesigns.com, and remember to use the promo code Doghouse for 10% off on your order. Also, go check out if you shop and order items over $35, you find yourself with free shipping on Etsy. But if you can't find what you need on Etsy, good thing we've got more sites for you to check out as well. You can go head over to Redbubble and TeePublic. The link is down in the description of today's video to go check out more from Smart Donkey Shop. Thank you for being today's race sponsor, as well as thank you to Shoney's, also to Fanatics and Group 6. We'll touch more on our main sponsors a little bit later, as we are getting ourselves prepared for the main event here tonight. Practice is over, qualifying's done, the warm-up's about to be finished. That means we got ourselves some Kansas racing action, 120 laps, no stage break, and no fast repair with just 3 sets of tires in pit road. It's going to be a fun one. Again, do not want to miss out, as the drivers' warm-ups is officially over. Zach, it's time for some racing action. This is going to be a fun one to watch.
It really is going to be a fun one to watch, Sam. I can't wait to see when this green flag drops here. And, it's going to really come down to who can place themselves in those right positions, find the clean air, and have the car that can move around. I think that's going to control tonight's race.
As we take a look at our Group 6 qualifying results here tonight, it is going to be seeing top of the board Chris Leftwich in the 8 machine, with third in points runner, the 22 of Michael Hayes. Third, it's going to be Christopher Simon. Fourth, we find our winner from last week, Andrew St. Cours, with Jamie Horn in 5th. Mike Leftwich in the 60 machine. Great qualifying time. He'll start in 6th position. 7th, we find the 19 of Nicholas Atwood. In 8th, it's Trevor McLaughlin, as well as in 9th, we find Cameron King in the 92. And finishing out our top 10, it's the 93 machine of Kevin Powell.
Starting in the 11th position, it's going to be the 2 of Tony Martin. Alongside him in 12th, it's going to be Raymond Hanneman. 13th position is going to go to Brandon Fetterplace, with 14th in qualifying going to Gary Armio. 15th is going to be the 45 of Gary Clune alongside him, and 16th is going to be the 36 of Harrison Whitehead. 17th is going to go to the 3 of Michael Scamenia. 18th is going to go to Tyler Millette. 19th in qualifying is going to go to the 43 of Eric Anderson, and rounding out our top 20, it's going to be Leroy Koblitz.
Down in 21st, we find the 78 of Daniel Wilkerson. 22nd position is the 41 of Andrew Cork. Adam Gardner starts in 23rd with the 99 and 24th position of Jonathan Smith. Bill Gentry will fall to 25th position with Mark Dumont in 26th. 27th, wasn't able to get that last time, and it's the 6 machine of Kevin Thompson. Then in 28th place, we find the 34 of Michael Menchaca. 29th, it's the 9 machine of Stephen Bonomo. In 30th, it's Michael Dow. And finishing out our last 3 drivers, in 31st, it's Richard Leclerc, Hunter Simpson, and Joe McKnight going to be in 33rd position. As the field's got to get prepared for this launch, it looks like Mark Dumont having some slight internet connections. He's going to be trying to get here late, might be missing the grid. But Zach, 120 laps. How do you think a field's feeling knowing that this has been a race historically with low to no cautions being thrown? How does that influence a driver's mindset coming into this race?
It actually can have a pretty big influence on it, Sam, especially with it being a 120 lap race. You know, 70% fuel load. I don't think they're going to be able to get 60 laps with that 70% or 60 laps with that 70% fuel load. So they know this race is going to more than likely be a 2-stop race instead of a 1-stopper. That makes things a little bit more interesting. You got to know how much the car is going to fall off, how much the tires are going to degrade over the run, and kind of judge your speed based off of that. Because if we do have those long green runs, you're going to have some conservation of tire, because if you continuously put in those hard qualifying laps, it's going to degrade those tires very quickly, in my opinion, and you'll be struggling at the end of those runs.
With the start of tonight's race, originally was scheduled for 33 drivers to take the green. Mark Dumont, Hunter Simpson, Joe McKnight going to be missing out on the start as Mark Dumont going to be out, and already issues in the back. That's going to be the 34 with some trouble, Michael Menchaca. And we're going to be extending the green here because of that incident that just happened in the back half of the field. Michael Menchaca running up to the field and accidentally locking up the brakes in front of the field, and it looks like Bill Gentry gets a slight tap into the 34, but everyone else able to avoid that very weird backstretch incident.
The driver that actually almost caught the most of it too, Sam, was Kevin Thompson. I mean, he barely slipped past that car of Michael Menchaca, and he luckily gathered it all up and kept it out of that, because that could have been a huge burden on his night. It could have started off where he's already in the 27th position, but with damage, if you start back there, that would have really been very, very bad for that 6 team. So luckily they stay out of that. But like you said, it looks like everybody comes out of it somewhat clean. Just a little scuff on the front bumper. I think Menchaca I think he got into the back bumper of Jonathan Smith there, but luckily everybody still alive.
Well, let's take a breather, reset. For some drivers trying to catch up to the field as they try to grid up here. Sometimes you can get a lack of focus, and we'll try to refocus in after an extra pace lap for the drivers. Again, tonight's race, 120 laps in total. There will be no stage break, no fast repairs, only 3 sets of extra tires in pit road to work with for 120 laps. See the fields ready for some side-by-side racing here at Kansas as we get ourselves prepared for the 4th to last race of the season. Pace car pulls off into pit road. We enter the restart zone, and the Smart Donkey Shop 180 is underway. Michael Hayes, Chris Leftwich roar down in turn number 1. A little bit of issue on the inside for the 27 assignment. Checks up the inside of the field, but up front, it's all the 22 of Hayes.
Hayes with a way better jump than the 8 machine there on that restart. I don't know if maybe it was in the wrong gear. Sometimes you can restart in first and just get that better launch, but it looks like now Hayes will have control, and our pole setter falling back.
Falling back and now in trouble, falling to 3rd position as that of Andrew St. Cyr trying to make the pass on Leftwich, not able to do so, but he can see the field fanning out, using 3 different lanes up the exit of the corner, and already trouble, striking further on back, driver into the grass, and I believe that's going to be Raymond Henneman as well as Eric Anderson. Trouble as we continue to stay green. All drivers that were spun around will be off the racing surface, and we stay green, and now the battle for the lead is underway as Chris Leftwich is back on the back bumper and trying to strike on the outside of Michael Hayes.
Quickly trying to run this outside line, and what we're seeing right here from Hayes along with St. Cyr, a couple other guys running the bottom early. I think this might be even a tire saving thing, Sam. You run that bottom lane, just less heats build up, and right now Leftwich, he wants to get back to where he was at from pole position. He's going to try to take this lead around the outside.
Major troubles are just striking all around for the drivers of the speed of the street limit racing team. Raymond Handyman got spun around. Harrison Whitehead is blinking aggressively. He's having his internet issues. And then before the race even started, Michael Menchaca having his spill. That has been just a complete team fall apart in just the first 3 laps. As in the middle of the pack is the battle for 10th place on and behind. Starting to see the 2 of Tony Martin trying to make his charge forward.
Just like that, we see the fastest lap put up by Adam Gardner. It was once Trevor McLaughlin, and quickly it was taken away by Gardner. It just shows you everybody running very quick speeds in these packs, but this racing right here from 12th on back with Gary Quinn, Michael Schemia side by side with Tony Martin behind him. This is definitely heating up, and this is classic Kansas right here. Bottom to top, everybody able to find speed, and this is what puts on a great show.
He's allowing everyone to really just pick what lane they feel the most comfortable. The outside lane has been talked about being a faster place to be currently, as Cameron King of the 92 a little bit slow through the center of the corner, but the exit, even to the 92 machine, was able to conserve and save for that pass as Tyler Millette trying to cycle his way forward after just getting by Adam Gardner in the 56 machine.
Great pass there from Millette, and he ran good at Las Vegas earlier in the season. Maybe we'll see some mile and a half prowess that this 94 has come through for him tonight as he's made his way into that top 15. But definitely very interesting to see the different line choices. You see Millette in the middle lane, the 36 up the track of Whitehead on the top side, and then you have the 56 of Gardner. And really, this is just a choice, I think, of really how much speed do you want to carry right now? And look at this front group. You got the likes of Simon, Mike Leftwich here, using that top side, making ground up. Maybe these drivers on the bottom at some point will start to make some headway.
Trying to make their way forward as quickly as possible. Andrew St. Cour, again, a driver that has won the last 2 Kansas races and wants to make it 3 in a row if possible, as also being hounded by Jamie Korn right behind the 98 machine for that top side. 27 of Simon as, slight contact into the outside wall as drivers scatter from that exit point. I mean, Zach, they are running so close to one another. One small slip up like that could be costly for not just yourself, but multiple drivers around you.
Exactly right. And it was really started with St. Cour there, who was on the bottom looking strong, got a little tight on exit, washed that car up the track, got into the wall. Simon almost into the back of him. Great heads up move by the 27 not to run into the back of the 12, and everybody keeps it straight for now. But now St. Cour side by side with Jamie Horn here on this outside group.
Looking back at the past races here at Kansas for the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series, this is a racetrack. Again, last 3 times that they've ran here, only 1 caution over those 3 races. And those past, I mean, yes, side-by-side racing was expected, but everyone fanned out pretty quickly in those races. Looks like it is not the case here tonight. Everyone's still right on top of one another, and Dean Simon trying to work the outside lane if possible as Whitehead puts down the fastest lap of the race here, just 8 laps into tonight.
And that just shows you how much speed these tires have. I mean, these guys run their fastest laps all throughout the first 10 laps here, and it really can come at any time and just when you want to push this race car. But you see there, that outside line, it just carries so much more speed that it's very, very hard to run that bottom groove and not allow drivers just to go around you. So I think anybody who's running just the bottom right now and you're hanging on, such as like Michael Hayes or Jamie Horn, you're doing a great job right now, because I really do think at some point that bottom lane will be the lane to be in.
Yeah, and you also think back to the past here at Kansas. It felt like if you were running the inside groove, it was a lot more of save your tires. Currently, with the way this next gen works, it seems like the aggressive you drive, you're not losing as much as we've seen in the past here at mile-and-a-half tracks.
Completely agree, actually, Sam. Seems to be like you can go that aggressive amount extra now, but you still got to have that little bit in the tank, but it's not as much as what you had to used to. You used to have to almost run a 10th off the pace, 2 tenths off the pace to really keep those tires in check. But right now, and especially with the open setups, these drivers are trying to find the grip. And I mean, this is just a great sight here. You can just see all the different lanes being utilized.
And there was almost a wreck in the middle pack as we've been watching Adam Gardner trying to continue his way forward. One of the biggest movers so far, up 8 positions. Kevin Thompson, though, in the 6 machine, up 12. They continue to push forward, but Nicholas Atwood, Skimia, these 2 drivers almost making contact a lap and a half ago after a big slide by the 3. They keep it together. Well, some of these drivers starting to feel the pain of looseness now, it looks like, through the center of the corner.
Definitely looks like the rear ends are starting to kick out a little bit, and that's interesting to see. Maybe a little bit of these drivers have gone to that looser side of the balance to try to fight this dirty air condition, because normally when we get in traffic like this, we lose the nose of the car, and it wants to go up the racetrack towards the wall. So I think a lot of drivers are probably dialing these cars in a little bit looser than they would like in the clean air, just knowing they might have to deal with some dirty air in those runs.
Nicholas Atwood entering tonight 4th in points and kind of the lead driver of the 4th through 10th points of battle of who's going to be inside of our top 10 and top 5 of points. Currently has been doing a great job of staying consistent, but as we talk about that, battle for the lead is underway, and it looks like Michael Hayes is going to be taking that top position for the 22, going with a slide job move. Chris Leftwich gets the run off of turn 2, though, and he's going to make the charge to the inside. The battle for the lead is still underway with lap traffic right in front of him. watch out as it's going to be Raymond Hanneman underpowered, staying low, and going to be forced into pit row, just ill handling 38 as our leaders will take that pass.
Michael Hayes looking strong right now too. Made that pass on the bottom side, made it stick on the outside in 3 and 4. Now back to the bottom once he's got some clean air. This 22 is going to be something to deal with tonight, with him being able to run down these guys that run the top from the bottom group. So it's very impressive to see. And same for Horn. Is the A to Leftwich up the racetrack into the wall, and Leftwich, I think, really hurting that right front tire. He is now losing some front turn through that corner.
I mean, he took the lead using that fresh air, and sometimes it's difficult to be the pace setter. Sometimes you might be a little bit too over aggressive in these first couple of stints, especially with the heavy pressure of some of these fast drivers behind. And now it's going to be Chris Leftwich leading the way with his father in the 60 machine, Mike Leftwich right behind him. Stuck in between the 12. Andrew St. Cyr has just been settled inside of our top 5 for most of this run. The 12 just seems like he's settling in weight. And also a driver to watch out for, that's Kevin Powell in the 93. He is just making the pass over Simon. And that 93 looks mighty quick right now the way he's charging forward.
He really does. He seems like he's got a ton of grip right on the bottom groove. And that's, again, if you can make speed down there, I think you're going to be able to make passes. And that's what the 93 has been doing. Up to third for Kevin Powell, having one of his best, or especially early in the race runs for him. He's had some moments where he shows up late in the race and gets up here in this top 3, in this top 5, but normally it takes a little bit longer. Watch out for this 93 as this race continues on.
Continues to march forward, but the biggest mover of the race back in 12th position, that's Kevin Thompson. Zach, I gotta say, he has done everything possible to surge through this field, and it's kind of been pulling along Tyler Millette and Adam Gardner here recently. The 6 now has a couple of more drivers ahead of him to crack into the top 10. This is impressive, just 18 laps in.
It really is, because what impresses me more than anything is a lot of times when you start back there, you kind of got to pace yourself even more just because of the dirty air, and you got to slowly pick those drivers off. But I don't think there's anything slow about the 6 car on a week-to-week basis, and he's quickly made his way through the field. And I mean, here in the next few moments, he might be in the top 10 if it looks like these 2 side by side with him lose any speed, as he's going to take advantage of the 2 of Martin there, getting a little tight off the exit of 2, having to lift. Now the 6 going to look to the outside, but Tony Martin slings it in there, and he's going to look to cover him off on the exit.
Aggressive entry, and it's going to be rewarded to Tony Martin to hold that position for now, but who can hold the lead position? As now it's going to be Jamie Horn, who's having his better long run positions. The 98 now in a spot to pressure Michael Hayes as our top 2, a second ahead of Kevin Powell. Looking at the lap times, running faster than Powell at this moment, even with the battling back and forth. But it looks like it's Jamie Horn that wants this lead spot 20 laps in to tonight's race. The 98 once again tries to go low, but there's just too much momentum on the outside, not able to fully clear just yet.
Too much momentum, like you said, but I think where Hayes has been struggling, I've been watching him a little bit. It's down here in 1 and 2. This car is loose, folks. He is on the ragged edge. He's going to definitely have to make, I think, an adjustment here coming to this pit stop, because I think it's going to help that car be fast, but I don't think he wants to be as loose as he is. So it's definitely interesting to see, and I'm not too surprised to see him move up even to this top groove. This can help tighten that race car up, so maybe trying to burn up a little bit of right front is now, again, Horn to that inside line here and down into the front of the straightaway. Like you said, Sam, Horn having, I think, one of his best long runs we've seen all season long.
It's been fantastic to finally see this 98 who's been very good at the short runs, and it's always been aggressive attack immediately here tonight, though, going with the opposite approach, and now 22 laps in, battling the 22. Other battles also happening on course. Kevin Powell's in a defensive line as the 22 rips to the top and close to that outside wall. The battle for second also raging forward. Powell's able to defend over the 12 of Andrew St. Cyr, but it's the drivers also battling for 6th position. It's Brandon Fetterplace, who's up 7 places now after getting by Chris Leftwich. The 20's on the charge.
I think he'll be one to watch out for too, folks, because you look back to the likes of Texas. I mean, he was so quick there, and mile and a halfs just seemed to be Fetterplace's really bread and butter, and he's slowly methodically working his way up here, and right now he's gotten past our pole setter, so just showing the speed he's had as he tries to run down Christopher Simon.
And behind them, now inside of our top 10, it's Kevin Thompson, who is up to that 10th place position. He'll be putting the pressure on Cameron King, and also going to be Mike. Oh no, trouble though for the 8 machine. It's going to be Chris Leftwich, blown engine for the 8. I don't know what
man.
happened to him, but it's blown up. I don't know if it was a misshift, but it is completely combusted for Chris Leftwich down into turn number 1. This engine just expires.
Sam, it was. He went to third gear there. Instead of going from fifth to fourth on the downshift into the entry of the corner, he goes to third gear. I mean, it immediately puts the revs up in the higher 2,000 RPMs. That's immediately going to destroy that engine and that pole setter out of the race.
From the top spot to the lowest before we even get to our first official green flag stop cycle, and Chris Leftwich's race is done just as like that. And as that moment happens, Jamie Horn into the top position and pulling away from Michael Hayes, and Hayes already 3/10 back from our leader. Horn finally able to run that preferred lane that he's been putting down these fast laps with, and he is pulling away from that 22.
I think he's showing that you really want to run the bottom. It really hurts the tires to go up top. It is more speed. It's that thing of, oh man, I can move up there and find a couple tenths. Yeah, you'll find those couple tenths, but those couple tenths will come back to bite you in a little bit. So you gotta be not greedy. You gotta be patient and slowly, methodically work your way forward, especially if your car will allow it. And I think that's what Jamie Horn has done really better than anybody, is just stick to what has been working.
And now we're starting to see really the change of drivers that maybe were going 100% to just stay in these top positions, starting to falter back. Nicholas Atwood and the 18 machine of Trevor McLaughlin starting to fall back in the 18 machine. Had a poor showing for his debut race last week at Dover. Here tonight, he had a strong qualifying run and moved up and stayed inside of our top 10, but finally has faltered back. Other drivers talking about faltering back, but trying to make their charge forward. It's the 78 of Daniel Wilkerson at this current moment, back in 17th position, challenging the 7 of Gary Armio.
They did challenging this 7 here, and the 7 trying to take away the air from Daniel, and he's doing a good job of it. And this makes things really tough here. When a driver's able to take away the lane that you like, it really makes things tough. So that's why you want to have a car that can run great in every spot. But we drop back here. It's the 42 of Leroy Koblenz. He's battling with the likes of the 4 Bill Gentry. This is that battle for a top 20 right now.
And we saw Bill Gentry have his scare before he even started the race with Michael Menchaca, able to resettle up 5 positions as the 4 machine, but currently in a spot where he's seeing Koblenz as well as Eric Anderson. They're putting the pressure on this 4, but that outside defensive lane allowing these drivers to have their run. Eric Anderson, Zach, I mean, so many kudos with the way that he ran last week. Had one of his best finishes ever for himself in the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. He's got to be proud of that finish, and now it's kind of just survival. See how he's going to run for the rest of this season.
That it is, and when we talked to him, he talked about how he had to get a little bit more aggressive this season. He's definitely, been doing a good job of that. So it's really worked out for him last week, and great to see someone like that have a really, really good run in their back. So great to see. But the one thing I've been watching, Sam, is a lot of these lap times are clicking off, and drivers are finding different bits of speed. And some of the drivers who are finding the most speed right now is Kevin Thompson. I mean, he's almost 3/10 quicker than anybody on the track, and that's crazy because he drove from 27th.
Yeah, the Dirty A really did not hold him back at all, as well as you saw the 3 machine. That's Michael Menchaca, just made a pit stop a lap ago for the 3 machine. He's going to be going with that pit every 30 lap strategy for himself. But Kevin Thompson, I mean, putting the pressure on for 5th place. This is the pass for 5th. Thompson, it doesn't matter where he starts. He's going to get up front at some point during the race, and he's finally done so, now battling with Brandon Fetterplace, who we expected to be a threat to be up front as well, and he's been up front, but a big slide for the 20. He holds on. They point straight, but that's an easy pass for Thompson.
That it was an easy pass, and I mean, the 20 had to play with the gas for so long to get that car not to step out anymore. So tough break there, but you can see Kevin Powell there with trying to get around Michael Hayes there. Those two come very close to each other on the exit. And we talked about Schemia, who just came on a pit road there. It's interesting the timing here, because I think around lap 40 is when you're going to see a lot of these pit stops start to transpire.
Yeah, lap 40 makes a lot more sense of when you're going to be coming into pit road. 30 is for those drivers that just don't have the feeling of just really their car just is out of control. They don't have that stability that maybe they're looking for. But the battling right now for second place. It's enabled the 6 to get into the fight. Powell has been struggling to complete this pass fully over Hayes, and now we're going to be seeing St. Cyr and Kevin Thompson in the mix. And Thompson, he might shoot the middle. This 6 looks like he's so stable, he can put it anywhere he wants, and he's going to make this pass.
It's so impressive to see just from how far back he's come. He hasn't overworked the tires. He's never really seemed to struggle. And right now, look at him just positioning himself so well, just makes the pass on his teammate Core. Now, look, he might go through the middle here, Sam. He's definitely got the grip almost, but look at Fender Place. He's like, I got the grip too.
I got the grip, or is it more so of these two drivers in front of them have such lack of grip that they're just naturally falling back? It seems like that's more of the case of, you know, you're placing yourself in the position of if they slip up, you can slot your way through. But with two drivers that have looked pretty loose, having these tires just falling away, you just got to trust that one's moving forward, and that's exactly why they go to the top side to Kevin Powell. He had the strength earlier on, but he's going to lose out to Thompson, who just easily, so he just goes high, low, and there you go. The 6 now challenging for second place.
What a move, man. I tell you what, he made that look easy. That wasn't even, he really didn't even lose too much momentum from that. And like you said, I think it was really the likes of Powell and Hayes there kind of struggling, racing side by side, that brought everybody right into the mix. But we'll see how long Thompson it takes him to get around.
Right behind him. It's going to be Fender Place and St. Cyr get into one another. And a yellow flag will be thrown by the admins.
Oh, man. And it was just a quick snap from the 20 in front of that 12 machine, and championship implications here, folks.
But there were 2 spins, and I believe the one that brought out the yellow was Mark Dumont spinning out, getting back out on course. But there were 2, like we said, 2 different incidences that really exploded there. As you're going to see the 14, he's going to be exiting out of pit road. And when he tries to transfer back into pit, when he gets back out on track, he spins out for himself as he's now leaving his pit stall. And then once he tries to get back out on track, hits the apron to track transfer, and it just spins out the 14.
Cold tires, I think, here, Sam. And that apron can be pretty treacherous sometimes here. Is I think Dumont here going to be exiting, but maybe not this time. He did the spin. It looks like right here in front of him is where the wreck happens with the 20 and that.
And then he spins right behind him.
Yeah, wow.
It was just 2 separate things happening simultaneously, and it brings out a caution where the admins decided, you know what, let's just throw it now. As they're going to be getting into one another. Feder Place trying to put the block and move on the 12, but gets a little loose and overcorrects, and nowhere to go for Andrew St. Cyr. And then behind, you see the 14. There's Mark Dumont spinning out behind him.
Like you said, there are just multiple different, 2 different situations playing out at really the same time. And for the 20, he has something similar to what happened to the 12 last week, where his front bumper completely fell off. But guess what? Luck for him, it comes back after that hit, and he's just going to have majorly just right side damage. You see the battle off of pit road, but St. Cyr, his night, very much going to be troubled by this. He's luckily didn't get that required damage flag, Sam, but the speed in that 12 is going to be hampered a ton.
Well, it looked to be that he did have the required damage flag, but it was just a broken toe length. Easily fixable, just took a couple of seconds, but he will fall back with a lot of optional damage that's going to be hurting him. As take a look at our weather so far, as we are just closing in on finishing up our first third of tonight's race. And it's going to be the weather, ambient temperature, or air temp, 70 degrees. Track temp, a very nice cool 74. The humidity is at 70%. And the wind, like most tracks we've been seeing this season and since the weather update, it is blowing pretty high in those, getting very close to 10 and sometimes up to 15 miles per hour.
You're exactly right, Sam. That wind has been pretty gusty, so we've seen that changing pretty rapidly through the session, and that could definitely have a major effect on these cars when it comes to their downforce levels and just the overall balance of how they drive. But it looks like Horn did win the race off of pit road, and I think, did Michael Hayes get? Yes, he did. I think he might have got a speeding penalty.
Got a speeding penalty, but I think he also decided to go into pit road, top off on fuel. So it could have been maybe a strategy call from the 22 Michael Hayes that wants to stay pretty close to that 40-lap window of when you enter pit road. You're aiming still for that 40 laps.
You very well might have hit that on the head there, Sam. That might be a strategy call if he feels like this race could go green. So he might feel like they need that top off necessary to not have to save as much fuel to get to those windows. But yeah, this is giving up a ton of track position, if anything, and we'll see what that 22 is made of. He was very quick there in that middle portion of that run, so expect to see him back up there. But Jamie Horn definitely, I think, didn't want to see none of that because he had done a great job opening about a 1.6-second lead.
Yeah, it was getting very close to 2 seconds before that caution flag ran, and it reset everything here. I think anyone that's loving this caution, it's Kevin Thompson, who worked his way through the field and now is rewarded with being inside of our top two. Jamie Horn, now he's got to reset, really learn from that stint. I think a lot of good things the 98 did under those first 38 laps. Now he's got to reset and figure out how to replicate that moment again. But for the 22 of Michael Hayes, I don't think this is the worst thing. Like I said, it could be a strategy call to just top off, get that extra little bit of fuel. But for the 22, he just saw Kevin Thompson run through the field and still be inside of our top 5. I think the 22 may be feeling, hey, I could do that too with how strong I've been running up front so far here tonight.
You know, hey, it's always great to take inspiration from someone, and if you're gonna definitely be inspired to run through the field, it's definitely take it from the 6, because that man was definitely a man possessed there as he came through that field and just really methodically did. He didn't really push the limit ever. He just every now and then was picking up a spot, and there he was at the end of the run right there in the mix.
Well, still in pit road is Chris Leftwich, who had the required damage after misshifting during that first 30 laps of this race. Raymond Handyman also still in pit road. We're left with a total of 26 drivers on the lead lap. It's going to be Jamie Horn, your lead driver on the inside, with Kevin Thompson to the outside groove. We enter the restart zone. The Smart Donkey Shop 180 is back underway here at Kansas Speedway. And it's the 98 with a huge launch for himself, really just enabling Kevin Powell put the pressure on for second place.
Great jump for Horn, like you said, and now let's see what Powell can do. Was looking very, very good on that longer run. Just kind of got held up by Michael Hayes once he got side by side with him. Maybe overworked the tire. We'll see what Powell's learned from that first run, and we'll see what the 6 learns from this run here, because he's now got much cleaner air. This could change things for him, and we'll see if he can adapt to it.
As Jamie Horn, Kevin Powell continue their way forward. Kevin Thompson, interesting fact for himself. He's ran all 3 past races here at Kansas, and he's finished inside of the top 3 every time. He's trying to become the only driver that's finished inside of our top 5 for all 3 of those races. As seeing Cameron King and Tony Martin, they're going to be inside of our top 10. This is great to see from the 92 and the 19. They continue to try to march their way forward after some of these incidences of drivers getting involved with those. That last wreck really opened up top 10 potentials for some of these drivers that were struggling.
That it really did. It really opened up a lot of things for some of these guys. I mean, you had the likes of Eric Anderson in 12th there, just right outside that top 10. Daniel Wilkinson's broke his way into the top 15 along with Steven Bonomo, who's actually battling right here with Armio for this top 15. These two going at it right now, trying to find a way to get around each other.
Trying to find a way, and it's going to be the 7 who just sails it down into turn number 3. Richard Leclerc going to be following in suit. As Steven Elmo looked like he was more so much stronger on the long run. He'll try to settle in, protect these tires for later on, as we move back up front for the battle for second place, because we got a gaggle of about 6 drivers that are trying to get away from one another, but it's being pretty difficult as Kevin Thompson, he's hit the go button. The 6 wants the lead after just a few green flag laps from the restart.
Well, that's what I like from Jamie Horn here. He's not going to fight it too much. He's going to run his line on the bottom and do what he did the first run. Stick to what worked for you. Yes, the 6 drove his way through the field and did a great job, but sometimes it is tough being that pace setter, so to say. Sometimes you can go out there, have that clean air, and run a little too fast. We saw the likes of Chris Leftwich, run into that. We'll see if Thompson has those issues, but it seems like he's slowly trying to work his way around the outside, not trying to overwork those tires too much.
Not trying to overwork it, as our top 10 drivers all within a half a second of one another. It is just jam-packed racing with everyone here 3 wide, a little stack 3 wide with Mike Leftwich. Now a complete 3 wide with Leftwich, King, and also going to be Adam Gardner as they continue to stay 3 wide down into turn number 1. And the battle for the lead, it's 2 by 2 by 2 by 3 with our leaders up front in this lead pack.
Great stuff from these drivers here. Is Leftwich working that top side, almost contact down into King there. That 92 and the 56 has to back out of it, but great racing all around from these drivers. Even Christopher Simon was having a great run there that first time around, and we'll see if these guys can keep it in the mix. But the 19 of Atwood up there now too in the mix with the 2.
Surprised to see a little bit of bump drafting of Atwood, giving the tap to Martin, giving a little bit more of a boost through the straightaway, but they were making the transfer from the apron back to the racing center, so won't make too many bumps there with one another as they hit the back stretch, continue to stay in line. And once again, shocking to say, top 11 drivers all within a second of one another. They just are keeping it so close. They are not able to pull away, but with Kevin Thompson now leading the charge, it's now up to the 6. What pace does he want to set here? And does he have the ability to just pull away from the field?
That's a huge question to ask ourselves right now. If he does have the pace, we'll see if he has it here show, because I just don't think you're going to see Thompson really go out here and overwork his stuff. He's going to be smart, methodical, and really just kind of slowly pull away if anything. If you're Horn here, look at him. He's trying to put the pressure on. So great stuff there. And even Atwood now trying to make the pass on Simon.
Top 5 in line. Simon's going to try to make the pass if possible for that 5th place position. You see on screen Gary Clune, who was kind of struggling back in about 15th position in our first 20 laps of this race. Now instead of our top 10, we're battling on Mike Leftwich in the 60 machine. As Chris, I mean, we saw Chris Leftwich having his troubles. He was running pretty similarly with his dad of Mike Leftwich for most of that first 30 laps of this run. Looks like Mike Leftwich making the hard decision. You know what? Let's try to keep pace with the leaders. And onto the wall actually is going to be the 60 machine. And oh no! Gary Clune into Mike Leftwich. Leftwich slamming the outside wall. We stay green, but the 60 looks to be done.
That he is. He is not going to be able to turn for the corner, too. I'm worried about anybody on the outside of him. Luckily, somehow the 60 does turn. We don't see it, but man, oh man, that could have been close there, Sam, for that 60.
Absolute tap and sender. Mike Leftwich is done. He might have to come to a complete stop and just tow, but he'll try his best to just drive to pit road. But it was just a simple hit the wall and bouncing into the 45 off the exit of turn number 4. As we take a replay here of this incident, you're seeing them still being aggressive, almost making contact, but off the exit of the corner, bouncing off the wall, and then Gary Clune comes up into the 60, and it's just huge tap, ripples, and breaks that front left and front right tire. And really, you're just trying your best not to run into anyone else.
And this is a common thing too, especially at tracks where we go on the apron, on the front straightaway to cut that, shortcut that distance, so to say. Clune was not shortcutting it. The 27 ahead of him, Simon was. I'm not sure if the 60 was kind of basing off of how far Simon was down, because runs right into the door of that 45 who didn't go on the apron. So tough break for the hit for the Leftwiches tonight. They had a tough time, but right now it's a tough battle up front because Horns really kept the pressure on.
Yeah, Jamie Horn continues to run low, and he might be given the green light to move high and try to pounce for the lead position. Right on back again, let Kevin Thompson take the lead pretty easily, staying down low, and now both drivers trying to hold back one another. Thompson entering lower. He is holding back, utilizing the dirty air, and Zach, this is something that in real life NASCAR you're seeing a lot of. It's kind of blocking and hurting the driver behind by just putting your back bumper where they're at.
Yeah, they're calling it aero blocking, so to say, and it's definitely a major factor. I mean, I remember in the sim it being a big thing for a while, just manipulating the air that your car puts off to the car behind you to take away that grip from that car. So it's a tough thing to do, and especially if you have someone like a Thompson who's entering lower, it doesn't allow you to get that left front headlight of the car out there and get that air on the nose. And it really seems like that's the only way you can get downforce right behind a car, is just get that left front out, poked out a little bit. But it's tough to do when you got a driver who's so disciplined in front of you.
Extremely tough to do for these drivers as we're inching closer and closer to the halfway of tonight's race. And for us, we're going to quickly step away. When we come back, we're going to have more great racing action for you. It's a little bit of a down point for this race, but expect it to ramp up. So we'll be going side by side as you're watching the Smart Donkey Shop 180 here at Kansas. We'll be back right after this commercial break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. Running productions in the background is Robert Moyer Jr., and you've been watching the battling for the lead. Kevin Thompson, Jamie Horn, they've almost made contact a couple of times, and Kevin Powell has poked his nose just a few. But for now, it continues to stay as they've been since we went to commercial break. Few drivers, though, did get into one another, and that's going to be Mark Dumont and Michael Menchaca. They get into one another, but we stay green. Both of those drivers look to be out of this race, but our top five continue to put on a great show. And Zach, this is all coming down to pit stops. Could be right around the corner for some of these drivers.
That they really could be. And look at this, man. Atwood, Tony Martin having excellent runs up here. And Atwood needs this. He really needs these points. And Tony Martin right now looking strong also. And, you know, it's interesting to see how big a gap they've opened up back to six, almost 3 seconds. So we didn't see that in the first run. It was kind of really more kept together there in that mid-pack. So right now, very interesting with this run.
It is very interesting, and with some of the drivers that once were up here in this top group still are struggling at this current moment, such as the likes of Andrew St. Cour, Brandon Fetter Place, both dealing with some heavy damage on both of their races. As right on board with Tony Martin, he's got a great showing of our top four as the two is trying his best just to stay in contact. I think right now the draft helping a ton, and the two's really not putting any pressure. He was quite aggressive in the first couple of laps when he went green, just to place himself in a better track position as this run has progressed forward. But he's just stayed low, hit his marks, and has been watching our leaders go side by side as the battle for second place. Kevin Powell, he wants a chance to go after Kevin Thompson.
That he does, man. He's worked his way now up to second. And, you know, Horn, so many laps side by side with Thompson, I think maybe overworked those tires just a bit. And right now we're seeing Powell, though. Look at the cut of the apron there and how much time they gained. And now, look, Thompson goes to the bottom here. This allows Powell to have the top here in some clean air. Let's see how this works out for the 93 down the back straightaway.
Trying to build up all that momentum. You run that outside lane, you're able to carry just a little bit more speed, and it allows you to just launch your way forward on the straightaways. Run the inside through, yes, you're protecting your tires, you're in a little bit slower, but you have to be worrisome of how fast this 93 is slowly chipping away for this lead position. But so far, Kevin Thompson has defended every opportunity that some of these drivers have had to go for a pass for this lead position. The six just always placing himself in a position that's just helping him out as he continues to try to block both lanes through the corner and off the exit.
Big run there for the 93 and looking strong right now. Is Powell maybe looking to get the lead for one of the first times this season for himself, but Horn also staying right in the mix, and these top three kind of breaking away from Atwood and Martin now too. So we're starting to see a little bit more separation, and I'm going to be interested to see when do these drivers decide to make a pit stop. I think a lot of them are going to aim for around lap 80, and look at this 93, very loose there off of two. It's going to allow now the 98 back to the inside, and I think this is what Kevin Thompson wants to see. And he's going to move right down and take away there from the 6th or from the 98 also.
I mean, taking away all of this speed is really helping out for Kevin Thompson, because he's just watching these drivers behind him continue to go back and forth between one another. But at this moment, Kevin Thompson continues to defend for this position. Other great battles have been going on track. Our drivers that are just inside of our top 10, seeing the likes of the 22 Michael Hayes. He's done a great recovery of trying to get into our top 10. He restarted back in 18th position after deciding to make an extra stop to top off on fuel. That one extra lap could come in clutch later on, but also seeing some other drivers trying their best to stay forward, as Daniel Wilkerson, he's been a driver that's been on the move all throughout this race, up 9th places. And also Adam Gardner in the 56, he's up 12 spots from where he qualified. But Michael Hayes making it look easy, continuing to chip away every position, every lap as he stays low on that white line.
Great job by him to make those two quick passes up to that 10th position. Next on his list will be Gary Kloon, but you can see right here Cameron King putting the pressure on that 27. Thought about it for a moment. As it looks like the 41 and Andy Cork back here in the 25th position, about looks like a lap down here.
Yeah, for Andy Cork, he was one of the drivers that made a stop just a lap ago, as he has been one of the first takers to go into pit road and take service. Another one of those quick drivers has been Michael Skimia. Both of those drivers going with an oddball strategy. I think they're just goals, try to finish inside of the top 20 with these aggressive pit stops. We'll see if that's going to work out for themselves, as Seeing a couple of the other drivers, here's Tyler Millette in the 94 machine. He's been trying to stay inside of our top 10, and Tyler Millette, think about early in the season, Zach, he was probably one of our top contenders. I would say top 10, top 5 in points. Easily could have placed him there. This season has been kind of rough, though, after those first handful of races.
It really has, and it's been kind of a struggle for him and just getting caught up and stuff. So tough break for him there, but we'll have to rebound from it. And they've done a good job tonight for sure running 6. But we got the likes of the 43 of Eric Anderson here trying to move his way forward and make the pass on the 7 of Gary Armio. These guys all 12th, 13th, and 14th with Daniel Wilkerson right ahead, even Adam Gardner. So stacking up from the left from back.
Hey, these drivers might have been battling for outside of the top 15 earlier, but with some of the guys that were inside of the top 10 having their own issues with Michael Leftwich, Chris Leftwich, also better Brandon Fetterplace and Andrew St. Cyr, it's enabled these drivers that maybe were going for some average races to have some of their best runs so far this season. It's great to see some of these drivers that have really marched their way forward. Just outside of our top 15, though, you saw there Steve Manomo and Larry of Gimby Leroy Koblitz as we move back even further, and this is the battle for 15th position up to 10th that we're seeing on screen.
Man, oh man, look how stacked up this is here with these drivers. You got the 34 there, who I believe is on freshies. He's trying to get around. That's Michael Menchaca, and you got the 99, Jonathan Smith. He's ran down Eric Anderson and Armio, who've been battling. He's trying to make something work here, but gets up really close to that wall. Luckily stays out of it, and now going to have a run off of 4 here on the 7.
Going to be diving it down low, trying to get under Armio. Armio just continues to run his own lane as Jonathan Smith hits his marks and continues his way forward. Not able to complete this pass just yet. To go with the slide job move off the exit of the corner, but Michael Menchaca forcing the 99 to go high, maybe a little bit sooner than he'd like as they wiggle their way off the exit of turn 2. And again, we are inching closer and closer to those green flag stops. And for all these drivers, it's getting to a point where the tires are barely there for the way that some of these drivers have been running close to that outside wall.
That they are, and I tell you what, who has kept it close? The guy we're on board right now, Kevin Powell, has kept it right here with the likes of Kevin Thompson. Don't count out Jamie Horn either. He's only about a half a second back behind this group. So this is looking very, very strong for these top 3, and I expect pit stops within the next 5 laps.
They continue to put the pressure on. Lap 80 seems to be the number to 81. Might see a couple of drivers try to push a little bit further than that if you've been staying in the draft of other drivers. Right now, Kevin Powell continuing to keep it close, running just a lane below Kevin Thompson, and it's enabling to have the grip, and into the wall is going to be Thompson. Powell to the point. The 6 slams that outside wall. You saw the little wobble as he hit the wall, and for Kevin Thompson, that little bump giving away the lead, and he's got to be careful here off the exit of turn 4 with how close he is to the wall.
That he is, man. It just shows you. He drove from 27th up to the 2nd place position, looked untouchable when it came to it on the long run, but it just showed you get out front. It's really tough to be able to set the right pace. Maybe coming through the field, it just really was, able to, kind of actually slow him up a little bit and help save a little tire. Maybe being out front, it just took a little bit away, because look at this, Powell taking away that line. This is going to be tougher for the 6 to have the air.
You might be losing a little bit of that air and trying to hold position as they're closing in on the likes of Andrew St. Cyr, who's going to be going a lap down here. No front bumper or clip as the 12 continues to run. The other driver that was caught up in that wreck that gave the damage to the 12 machine, Brandon Fetterplace, just leaving the session, calling it a night. Other drivers that have called it a night is Mark Dumont in the 14. As our leaders get right back at it. Kevin Thompson, he might have touched the wall, but what a massive send, and Powell grazes the wall. Kevin Thompson's back to the lead as they exit at turn 4. Just a little bit of do-si-do between the two. Switching up, who's going to be that lead driver?
Man, Jamie Horderson are saying, guys, keep doing this, let me get by. And look at this battle back there. Garrett looks like Tony Martin right there getting passed by Cameron King. It looks like Millette going around the outside of the 2 who's starting to struggle a little bit, along with the 19 Atwood. So both those drivers who were up in the top 5 group up there, now dropping back, Sam, just showing their tires are hurt.
Well, we went back because there's a big drop-off for Nicholas Atwood, losing 4 positions in just 1 lap. And now pit stops. It's going to be Kevin Thompson who makes a drifting move into pit road entry for the 6. Going to be one of our first front runners to hit pit road.
Wow, that was definitely quite the entry there to pit road, along with the 19 Atwood. He's going to come down, I believe. Also, we got the lights of Clune, so a lot of the Twisted Axle guys coming down here. We'll see if Kevin Powell and Jamie Horn respond here on lap 80.
Over the radio, Kevin Powell making the indication that he's going to be entering pit road. Other drivers also very vocal this lap. Lap 80, this was the number we thought a lot of drivers were going to hit, and you cannot afford to get caught speeding. The black flag here could throw away a race for some of these drivers, as Michael Hayes will stay out for an extra lap. Same from Cameron King, and yellow flag is out. Collision made. It's Daniel Wilkerson and a few others coming into pit road.
Oh man, this timing here going to be very interesting. I think Wilkerson got hit by the 7 of Armio coming down the pit road, so tough break here for that 78 who really just got punted.
And it's another admin thrown yellow. iRacing hasn't been calling these yellows just yet. The admins seeing the fact that there are 2 or more drivers involved, they throw the yellow, and it's going to be Wilkerson taking an extremely patient approach, while Armio and others wanted to get aggressive on that pit entry.
Man, oh man, just shows you how fast things can go wrong. You see Wilkerson here. He's going to pull low here on the exit, and he's going to think he's got enough gap here, plenty of gap, and he's going to slow down. But the 7 Armio just did not get slowed down much. I mean, that was just straight into the back of him.
And with how fast Armio was going and Steve Manelma behind them, I don't know if they were even going to make pit entry with how fast they were flying in there. Just there were so many voices saying they were entering pit road. Could have been messed up on hearing a driver that they were coming into pit road. That closing rate can be tricky as this caution flag looms. And this is now going to be put in a lot of the drivers that just made their pit stop. They're going to have to take the wave around. And for some, they're going to be in a spot where they're going to be multiple laps behind on their pit stop and older tires compared to those that are just entering pit road now.
This is definitely shook things up the craziest way possible here with these yellows. And man, this is it's gonna be interesting to see how all the lineup is shook out after everything cycles through.
As drivers that enter pit road, it's gonna be our top 9. Everyone 10th on back, gonna take the wave around to get back onto the lead lap. As Michael Hayes and a few others gonna be getting 4 tires and fuel, get back out there on course. And Zach, with the time of this yellow, believe that they all should be good to make it from here. So this is your money stop for all these drivers. This is going to be a tough one for everyone to try to climb through this field.
Going to be very, very tough for sure. I mean, we've seen Thompson do it before. He's going to restart farther back there now along with this, and this is just open up the door for others. I mean, if you're Powell, you like the situation for sure. I think if you're that 93, it looks good for him. I mean, but the likes of Thompson, we'll see how he makes his way back forward.
Well, as the field is getting ready for what potentially could be the final restart of the night, because every caution has been around that pit cycle moment, could be our last time to really shout out these amazing sponsors that have helped out the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series and also the Doghouse Leagues in general. We want to say thank you to Shoney's themselves being the title sponsor of the Cup Series. Shoney's is today's All-American Kitchen, open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Shoney's guests can count on quality, delicious food along with a warm, friendly service. Stop by one of the West Virginia locations and check out their freshly prepared legendary breakfast bar. And don't forget to take home a whole strawberry pie. Shoney's, delicious food and friendly service since 1947. Also want to say thank you to Group 6 that have partnered up with the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. Rev up your brand's potential with Group 6 at every turn of a Doghouse Racing season. As your creative marketing powerhouse, we're here to fuel up your success, accelerate your impact, and steer your brand towards victory. Group 6, where every race is an opportunity to outshine and outperform. Discover more at group6inc.com. That's group with the number 6inc.com. And a final major sponsor we want to say thank you to. You can check out their link down into the description, and it's Fanatics, your sports merchandise powerhouse. It is there for fans of sporting events. Fans can go purchase their favorite apparel, jerseys, hatwear, and more from Fanatics. They're partnered up with all majority professional sports: NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, NASCAR, MLS, PGA, and guess what? Even more with collegiate sports. And also all of the biggest global sports soccer clubs You don't want to miss out on what Fanatic can give. And if you can use the link down in the description, all of your purchases give a commission to the Doghouse Racing League that helps fund the league with all the seasons and series they run. Thank you to all the amazing sponsors that help out here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, as we're going to go another lap to get everyone cycled in the right position. But Zach, this caution shakes things up. It places certain drivers in odd positions. And now it's also going to be forcing Kevin Powell to do the same exact thing. He's got to work his way through the field as he'll be back in 17th position.
That he will be. Thompson's got a lot of work to do for him, folks. This is going to be, I think, pretty fun to watch, you know, how this is all going to shake out for these drivers. So as everybody comes around to take that wave from the 17th position on back, or sorry, actually not in the 17th position, multiple different drivers. It looks like from that 15th position on back will be taking the wave. So, you know, there's not going to be a real big tire advantage for the drivers who were able to hit pit road under the caution, because that caution coming out really right when everybody was just starting to pit. So it's not like Thompson's going to lose out a ton of tire grip to the likes of Powell and them. It's just more or less the track position loss is going to be huge.
And with this kind of a cycle up, with the timing of this caution being in the middle of the pit cycle, it now gives a chance for some drivers that were out when that yellow flag was thrown, such as the likes of 17 of Richard Leclerc, Harrison Whitehead. They could be going for another top 10 finish and a potential top 5 if the laps kind of click in the right points for them to get moving forward. But this could be another great finish for some of these drivers that have only really had a couple of good finishes. I know for Richard Leclerc, only one top 10 this race, starting in 8th place. It's going to be a tall task to hold on, but he's got a couple of drivers behind him that maybe might be able to hold back, the likes of Jamie Horn and also Kevin Thompson. But up front, Powell going to be on just a 1 lap old, green flag running on those tires. Michael Hayes and the rest of the field just got 4 freshies. Zach, this is not a big advantage, but it's a small one that at least Michael Hayes could have.
It's definitely it's something he wants. Any advantage he can have over the likes of Kevin Thompson, especially to try to reel those points back in. Especially, I think when he's seen what has happened to the likes of the 12, that's kind of opened up the door now for those drivers. So we'll see how it works, Sam.
Pace car pulls off into pit road. It's time for us to get back to green flag racing. The Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series for the Smart Donkey Shop 180 is back underway. Kevin Powell taking the great launch for himself. Michael Hayes going to be in second. They'll slot in line. It's 2x2 all the way through until we find ourselves back with the lap down drivers and those that took the wave around all single filed out.
Kevin Powell controlling this race right now, loving what he's seeing out front, clean air. Hayes, though, liking now where he's at. Look at Christopher Simon, though, and Cameron King, these two battling for this 3rd position. Also got Adam Gardner now up in the top 5, along with Eric Anderson in the top 6. So, again, once again, a changing of the guard up front.
With where they qualified here tonight, it's Adam Gardner, your biggest mover so far, and he'll try to grab another position over Christopher Simon as they went 3 wide for a quick moment. 56, though, recognizing need to get by as King puts the block on the 56 machine for the 3rd place position. Gardner does not want to be stuck behind that 92. It is all Adam Gardner putting the pressure to try to go forward.
That he is, man. I tell you what, that was very close there between the 92 and the 56. Great job for the heads up for the 56 not to, make any contact there, because that could have been detrimental to both the races. But we'll see if the 56 can get past that 27, because it's just tough if you're going to make the bottom work, you got to make it work quickly, because there is a ton of drivers behind you that are willing to use that outside line and use the tires up.
As drivers are now slotting their way forward, Jamie Horn has now moved up to 8th position. He's right behind this battle lane that we see on screen. And Horn's going to be probably the biggest threat for our top 2. They're trying to just pull away. But Bill Gentry, a couple of others, as Eric Anderson gets into the outside wall, that's going to be hurting the 43. And that gives another position for Horn as he'll move up now to 7th.
Great job from Horn here. And, he's like in the position that he'll be in too, because he's been able to jump ahead of Kevin Thompson through all this. So we'll see how he can climb his way back up. But once again, working that bottom, and he sees a gaggle of cars here as he goes to the inside of Bill Gentry now. Behind that dirty air from the 56 of Gardner ahead. The 98, though, strong on that bottom.
Another position gained, and now we'll tackle to try to go by even more drivers with the 27 of Simon. Simon will just run low, and Now Adam Gardner, where does he go? Because really what's blocking off and stopping this group from catching up to Powell is Michael Hayes. He is cutting down and stopping Gardner's any attempts to take this second place position.
I feel like Hayes is definitely managing those tires a ton right now. You can see Gardner just jump to the inside in 3. Hayes doing a good job though, trying not to lose too much time and too much positions on the racetrack while saving those tires.
Saving those tires, continuing to push forward. Other updates of fast drivers. Kevin Thompson's up to 12 and Tony Martin up to 11, trying to make their way forward that were once battling inside of our top 5 earlier in this race before that pit cycle caution came out. As now we see Horn. Where does he place himself? Once again, tries to dive under the 22, not able to make the pass. And now the battle for the lead is underway as Powell has fallen back. And I wonder if the 93 might have recognized I was pushing too far. We got to backtrack it and save these tires just for a little bit longer in this race.
Man, oh man, this is definitely changed things up a little bit. And I think Powell knows that he, like you said, Sam, he's got to manage. He can't just go out there and run quick laps because he'll be the driver that is being attacked later in this race. And right now, Gardner says, you know what? I want the track position. I want the lead. Maybe this will be able to, catch a caution at some point, because I think that's what the 56 needs to hope for, because clearly he's using some tire.
I mean, Adam Gardner enters tonight 5th in points. He was just a mere 15 points off of Nicholas Atwood for 4th place in points. And if this 56 wants to say, hey, I was the 4th best driver of our top 3 that have been dominating this season, and needs these bonus points for leading a lap. You get 5 bonus points for leading a lap and trying to stay ahead of the 19. This is the run that Adam Gardner is looking for, and trying to also kind of to prove that he's not just the super speedway driver. Adam Gardner this season has proven that he's dominant at super speedways with the help of his team at Twisted Axle, but almost all the other tracks, it's been a struggle for this 56 to have a solid finish everywhere else without finding trouble.
It really has been, and this is great to see from him. And he's on one of the best teams out there too, so he's got a great car underneath him, and he's definitely using it to his full advantage tonight. Is now Cameron King going to dive back to the inside of the 4 of Bill Gentry here, try to make that pass to move himself up into the top 5 right behind Michael Hayes. And right here, it is a gaggle of cars.
Seeing Harrison Whitehead earlier in the race at the start had extreme quality issues with his internet to iRacing. It got fixed up halfway through the race, and now a solid chance for this 36 to go for a great run. This is probably his 2nd best run of the season if you take away how well they were running at Talladega. Right now seeing the Harrison Whitehead trying to push his way forward, but the pressure behind him, I gotta give kudos to the 2 machine of Tony Martin. This has been amazing to watch the aggression for the 2, and he sees a chance for a great finish, maybe a top 5 run for the 2 machine of Tony Martin, trying to figure out how to get by this wall.
He's definitely trying to find his way around, and he's had an excellent night, showed a ton of speed, and right now working his way into position. It's great to see that from that team. Also, I believe you got the 41 up there, Cork, but he's a lap down, so don't mistake him for being in the mix, but still running that top lap down position, trying to fight for Lucky Dog.
Yeah, and trying to stay ahead of Daniel Wilkerson, who's caught up in the last wreck incident that brought out a yellow, and right now the 78 machine running further on back with the drivers that are stuck around the 18th position as they continue to stay side by side. And right behind this cluster, you see the 6. Kevin Thompson is looming, but he's back at 11th, 12th position. And with so many drivers ahead, the gap between the 6 inner leaders, 2 seconds now. As he puts the pressure on, Thompson, it's the green light. It's time to go as we're closing in with 20 laps to go here in just 3 laps.
We'll see how well he's able to work his way forward, and did he save a little bit more this time? Was saying that, I'm farther back. I don't need to go take off and run everybody down immediately. But the one thing I will say, he's going to have to make up a little bit of a gap here, especially because of the cars he's got to go through. It's going to be tough here, but we've seen it so far. This 6, unmatched speed sometimes when he gets it right.
Sees a wall, he's got to full force it 3 wide. He cannot stay behind these drivers. Every lap you waste, it could be the lap that you needed later on in the night for the win, as Thompson will take 2 positions there. And now instead of our top 10 is the 6th machine. Now he's got Tony Martin as well as Christopher Simon. But the battling for 3rd place also starting to rage on as Michael Hayes trying to get by Jamie Horn, does do so. And now Hayes looks like he's trying to slot himself in a position and try to put the pressure on Kevin Powell to go a little bit faster and use up those tires before we get to that final 10-lap push.
And will Powell try to get that lead back from Gardner here soon, because he was all over the back bumper heading into one. I mean, he backed that corner up a ton trying to get a run here off this corner. And I think really trying to bait that 56 into overdriving to make an easy pass work, because, yeah, you might be able to get to the inside and fight him for a few laps and get that pass done. But if you can get a quick one-lap pass done, you're not going to have to overwork your tires. But I think the thing that's going to be his problem is here comes Michael Hayes with a head of steam, cuts down off a 4, down to the apron and to the inside.
Hayes is not waiting any longer. He wants to be that control vehicle that when it's time to go, he's the one pouncing forward. And with 19 laps to go, Hayes now moves up into that second place position. And the gap between our leaders back to Kevin Thompson, still a little bit under 2 seconds as Powell putting the pressure now back as Jamie Horn's now in the mix. Our top 4 all within 3/10, almost a half a second, of one another. And you can also put in behind these drivers, Cameron King in the 92 is keeping pace with our top 4.
That he is. I'd say King's had some good long run speed late in these runs too, so don't count out that 92 here down to the end of this race. I think personally, anybody in our top 7 right now, including Kevin Thompson back there about 2 seconds back, has a shot at this victory. It's going to come down to who manages it the best and who goes at the right time, because right now you see Horn, he makes the pass on Powell, but here comes the 92. It's really a ton of speed here now.
An extreme amount of speed, and looking at Cameron King, he's got 2 top 5s this season, and he wants another one. As he's now going to be trying to get underneath Kevin Powell. King here tonight, once again, talking about some drivers trying to get their best finishes of the season. Well, for Cameron King, he's got 2 top 5 finishes this season that have been his best. He doesn't want 5th for the 3rd time.
That he does not. He wants to better that for sure, Seb, and he's putting the pressure on Powell, who, you know, gotta wonder if Powell is still kind of laying possum here, just trying to make sure that he has those tires left here in these last 15 to go, or 15 or so laps. It's just gonna be the question of, if you wait too long, will it be for too little?
Looking at the lap times, his last time by, Michael Hayes about a 10th, a little bit of 2/10 faster than Adam Gardner, trying to get by her leader as the battle for the lead. Swap now. It's going to be Michael Hayes leading the charge. Gardner trying to get underneath. Hayes defends the 22. Now the lead driver for our front 5, but in 6th place it's Kevin Thompson. 2 seconds back. Is the gap too large, or will this battling back and forth enable the 6th to get into the fight, because they continue to go side by side for 1st and for 3rd?
I think he's going to need some help from these drivers to make some easy passes for him. I think he'll have the speed because of how much management he's been doing, but he's going to run into this traffic here that is racing super hard. Nobody's going to lift. Nobody's just going to give you the position. He's got to hope for something like earlier where he makes those passes 2 to 3 times, you know, in one attempt. So we'll see if it works out. But right now, Horn clearing that 93. He's going to try to attack the 56.
Now it's going to be on Adam Gardner. He was the lead driver since we went green, but was it too aggressive, that charge and pace setting for himself as he tries to stay high and defend the lane? And the outside wall is just looming for Gardner at this moment. Cameron King staying high as well, but Jamie Horn, this next lap, going to be a lot of crucial numbers to watch out for. Hayes about a 10th faster than Horn, and also going to be 3/10 faster than Adam Gardner and Kevin Powell. The 22, is he pushing it too aggressively here too soon? 13 laps to go, and Zach, we saw when we were just 8 laps into a run, these tires were starting to fade away if you were too aggressive. The 22 could be backfiring as he's trying to build this gap up now to 6/10.
That is definitely the concern on my side, Sam, is he is turning really the fastest laps on the racetrack by far, other than Horn, who just kind of about almost matched him there. But it concerns me just because when you see somebody push that hard, open up that much speed and that gap that quickly, you know how much heat is being built up. And yes, 13 laps is not long to go, but it is a long time when you're going around a 1.5 mile racetrack. You can quickly start to lose big chunks of time.
The gap back to Kevin Thompson. It has just continued to grow, now up to 2.5 seconds between our leaders to that 6th place position. So it looks to be a mano-a-mano battle between Michael Hayes, Jamie Horn, the 2-horse battle between these two, and Kevin Powell, who also lingering with some speed. He's been able to get by Cameron King. It's 3 drivers. How quick can you catch up to the 22? Horn's a half a second back. A second back is Kevin Powell. This is it, Zach. 10 laps to go, and this is the crucial moment we were waiting for. Who has the tires for this final 10-lap push?
That is really the huge thing a lot of us have got to be asking. And right now, last time by, Kevin Powell, fastest car on the racetrack at a 30.68 to our leader's 30.79. So about a 1/10 of a second gain there for the 93. He would have to do that lap after lap and get by Horn if he wants a shot at Hayes.
You can see Kevin Thompson so far back. He's starting to catch up to Gardner and King, but I don't know if he's going to have enough time to catch up to our top 3 that are just trying to pull away as quickly as possible. Now 9 laps to go, and Jamie Horn is being caught by Kevin Powell. Powell is slowly catching up, and both drivers are trimming away at this lead. It's now less than a half a second difference between 1st and 2nd place, and Michael Hayes might have just drifted a little bit too far too early as they continue to fight, as Kevin Thompson now battling for that 5th place position, but the 22 trying to get his 2nd win of the season. His last one was back at Texas. That was our last mile-and-a-half race. It would make just total sense for Hayes to get another win in a mile-and-a-half per track.
That it really would. I mean, he's been so good all season. Luckily, he broke through there at Texas and got that victory. But, you know, for him not to have 2 or more, it's kind of been surprising with how great runs he's had. So we'll see if Hayes can hold him back, because right now Horn's moved up to the top line. It's kind of surprised me a little bit. I think Horn has kind of responded to the likes of Kevin Powell behind. He saw Powell move up, make some speed on that top groove. He moves up to counteract that, but that puts him in the dirty air, Michael Hayes, and that ground he was making up is kind of just halted.
And shockingly, Adam Gardner is not letting this teammate go. Gardner is holding back Kevin Thompson. Thompson has not been able to just swiftly make this pass over the 56. It is now built up the gap too large. It is now down to just our top 3 unless they have their own issues. And then Cameron King is just 2.5 seconds back. It is just these 3 drivers. Who's going to win this race unless a late caution pops up? If we get a late caution, we can head into overtime, where we only have 1 overtime attempt if needed. But Michael Hayes still with a half a second gap lead that he's been keeping pretty consistent at for the last 10 laps. It has been like this, and now starting to build out just a little bit more as Horn. I mean, that gap might have been big enough, Zach, to where Horn had to use up too much tires to catch up to this 22.
You're exactly right, and I think a little bit of the response to Powell behind has thrown him off the game of catching Hayes too. So this right here shows you, when you have someone that is catching up behind you, even though you're catching the leader, it can take your focus off that leader, change up how you're racing. And right there, the 22, loose off of 2, but still opening that gap somewhat.
Looking back for the back hood of the top of the 22 of Michael Hayes. You see everyone ripping the top, trying to carry as much speed as possible as they come across the line. 4 laps to go for this field, and it just looks like it is all gone for Michael Hayes. Horn falling back, Powell looking strong, and Horn just trying everything to find some speed, but it's not there. Other great battles that are happening on course. The battling going on for 6th place between Christopher Simon and Eric Anderson. But our leaders, it is just those 3 continuing to pull away.
Yeah, it's really a excellent battle right here. But yeah, those 3 up front continuing to open the gap up, and definitely seeing a little bit of struggle start to kick in with these tires for a few guys out there. And that's the point of the run right here, where a lot of people would start to struggle. So I'm not surprised to see that, is now Anderson really trying to make his move here to get up into 6th to continue his good runs. But it's been Hayes up front continuing to gap the field.
Continuing to gap the field, and again, late caution could throw this race away for some of these drivers, as almost everyone has used at least 2 sets of tires, and everyone's got a set still waiting in pit road. But across the line, this is it. 2 laps to go here tonight for Michael Hayes, Jamie Horn, Kevin Powell. The gap almost to a second between 1st and 2nd. Michael Hayes, it took him 9 races to finally get into victory lane, but he was so consistent over those first 8 races where you just knew a win was coming. It's now going to take him less than 9, only 5 this go around to potentially grab his second win. As he looks up the flag stand, white flag in hand, we will see this race conclude, and it's Michael Hayes leading the way on your freaky fast white flag.
What a job by this driver, man. Timed it well, let the 93, let the 56 go out there, pull away, saved his stuff, and used it for the right time.
Michael Hayes down into turn number 3. We said he needed a strong run if he wanted to stay in a chance to battle for the championship, and a strong run he'll deliver here at Kansas. Into the break, give it a 2 wins for Michael Hayes. Congratulations to this 22. He's gonna love this one because it was needed to stay in the fight.
What a victory for him, Sam. I tell you what, man, this is huge, like you said, to stay in that fight for the championship, because this 2-week break, this only motivates you that much more. Thompson back there with a 5th place finish, he's definitely going to gain some points here.
It's a massive gain. Now it should be down to 100, a difference in points after this type of a race. And Andrew St. Cyr, the battle for second, it just inches a little bit closer because Andrew St. Cyr, he'll finish all the way down in 19th position. That's a tough pill to swallow for himself after how strong the 12 was looking. But for tonight, it's all the 22. Michael Hayes played some strategy. The timing of the yellows lined up, and he'll take the victory. As we will step away, when we come back, we'll talk to the 22, Michael Hayes, Jamie Horn, Kevin Powell, and also a spotlight driver right after this. Tonight, we'll find out again. The 98 machine, Jamie Horn, going to be your top driver with Christopher Norris to his outside. And drivers told to calm down after last week. And the way that this season's been going, the race admins feeling like the racing's got a little bit out of hand, a little bit too many cautions that the admins have been liking. They want to see this race get cleaned up. And looking at the past, this race has been a clean one. There's only been one race with more than 3 cautions. That was back in 2023 season 2. Besides that, it's been 2 or less. Could we have a caution-free race? Well, we're about to find out as the drivers into the restart zone. It's the Adam Looney Foundation 200 here at Talladega. We're green as Horn gets the better launch on the inside, but his partners nowhere close. The outside grooves got the better collection, and watch that run off the exit of turn 2.
See what Gardner can do here, the winner from Daytona, already trying to fight up into a top 2 position and push the 83 past the 98 here as they come through the center of 1 and 2. But it looks like now Horn finally going to have the help there with the 4 Bill Gentry all over the back bumper.
Bill Gentry just did not get through the gears cleanly, but he finally was able to get to that back bumper, trying to push the 98 machine. But currently, it's Adam Gardner trying to push Christopher Norris out of the way, shoves that 83 to the 3rd groove, and he's going backwards. No help, and it's going to be the leader, Twisted Axle, on that middle groove as teammates in line. That's Gary Clune, Adam Gardner. They did not want to be the followers. They want to get right back to where they were to start out the season. That's leading the first lap goes to Adam Gardner.
Oh, man, Gardner really just pulled a...
One driver makes some mistakes. It's Gary Clune in pit road, black flag, speeding on pit entry.
Oh, no, here comes Chris Leftwich now down in the 8 machine, the 63 of Maydew there coming down. And yeah, Clune, that speeding penalty, he's still sitting in the box too, Sam, so he's going to not be able to get back out there with his teammates.
And luckily for the Twisted Axle team, they should have at least 5 drivers in line with one another. As Andrew St. Cyr's trying to drop back to that group, but everyone else up front still have not made their signs of the first pack to make the stop into pit road. Everyone else, though, and that second pack has already made that decision. Still very chaotic up front, no signs, and it went from peacefully in line to the back half of that pack is still 2-3 wide. No one feeling comfortable where they're at currently for that 15th back to 23rd position.
That they are not, and I'm looking at some of these pit stop times, about a 7.7 to an 8 second.
Welcome back to the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series post-race show for race number 13 of the season. Your Smart Donkey Shop 180. Remember, go down in the description, check out your t-shirts and more from Smart Donkey Shops. As we go to Victory Lane, get to talk to Michael Hayes in the 22, getting his second win of the season at a crucial time, coming to the end. Michael, it's Sam and Zach up in the broadcast booth. You got us?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, Michael, you get your second win of the season. We touched on it at the beginning of the broadcast. This race seemed like it was a must on gaining points on the likes of Kevin Thompson and Andrew St. Cyr, and you take the win. How are you feeling with the win, and what a solid time to get it?
Yeah, feeling good. I'm glad that caution came out there because I kind of threw myself off strategy with trying to get a little bit more fuel, so that way I could stretch it out a little bit. It ended up working in my favor, but yeah, it doesn't hurt to get lucky once in a while.
It definitely doesn't hurt to do that for sure, Michael. Congrats again on another win, man. Definitely a hard fought one there coming down to the end. We saw you up front there early in the race, battling and showing really a lot of speed. One thing I wonder is, did you ever have to make any changes throughout the race for that race car?
No changes. Just the only adjustment I did was my racing line. I was kind of burning up my right front, but I figured out it was me overdriving the corner entry, so I kind of backed it up and kind of rolled it a little bit better and kind of saved my right front, which really helped me out there at the end, holding off them fast cats.
They certainly were fast, and you just played it out perfectly, like you said. Also, perfect timing of that yellow. Michael, we're going into a 2-week break, and then we got our final 3 races of the season. What's going to be your goal during these 2 weeks off to try to set up for this championship push?
Yeah, not going to do too much different. I mean, just kind of keep myself in the rig and stay, freshened up with all the officials and stuff. So just kind of keep it the same old during the 2-week break, I guess.
Yeah, that seems like a solid way to go for these next 2 weeks. Michael, again, congratulations on this win. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, shout out to the boys watching. I know maybe a couple of them are watching tonight, so shout out to them. Shout out to the league. As always, this league's been super fun this year. So shout out to them, and yeah, as always, shout out to you guys for broadcasting it.
Well, thank you for giving us an amazing show to cover. That will be your winner here tonight for the Smart Donkey Shop 180. It's going to be Michael Hayes in the 22. Congratulations, Michael. Enjoy it, and good luck getting prepared for this final 3 races of the season.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good night.
You too. As we move from Victory Lane, we go down to second place to talk to Jamie Horn in the 98 machine. Jamie, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. Congratulations on second place. Gotta say, this machine looked quick all night long. How are you feeling, though, coming away with second place?
Feels great after my rookie mistake I made last week coming out of the pit. So it's a good bounce back for sure.
Definitely a great bounce back for you there, Jamie. I mean, definitely showed a lot of speed here tonight, man. Led laps. What was it? It seemed like you were one of the drivers that made the bottom work really the best.
Yeah, that's where my car kind of handled the best at, and I just kind of told myself that was where I was going to run all night and stayed there. I went high a few times, and I mean it would work pretty much anywhere, but I just wanted to try to keep some tires under it for the end.
I mean, at the end, you were right there trying to go for that win. Jamie, I mean, we're coming up to a 2-week break before our final 3 races of the season. What are you trying to grab for the end of this season and maybe prepare for next season with these final 3 races?
I was just continuing to, learn these cars better and work on my setups. This is my first season in open sets, so it's been a learning curve for sure. But every week I seem to be getting a little better, and running up front more consistent. So I'm happy with the progress and ready to finish this season out and start next season.
I mean, tonight really proved how much that growth has been. Jamie, congratulations on second place. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
I want to thank y'all for everything y'all do. Y'all put on a great broadcast. Thanks to Daniel for putting on this series. Him and his staff do a great job. And thanks to my mom. She watches every week. And last but not least, my team, Graybeard. We've been working at it, getting better each week. So ready to come back in 2 weeks and see what we can do then.
Well, that'll be your second place finisher here tonight in the 98 machine of Jamie Horn. Congratulations on second place, Jamie. Enjoy this one, and hopefully we'll be talking to you in 3 weeks.
Thank you, guys.
As we move from second place, we go down to third, where we bring up Kevin Powell. Kevin, this 93 machine, was extremely quick here tonight. How are you feeling coming up with third place, and what else did you need to try to go for that win?
Man, I'm really happy with the car and everything. Honestly, I think it was just how the race played out. I could have won with that car, that setup. We were really moving. On that last stage right there, the 56, come dive bombing in turn one, got me up off the bottom a little bit, and I wasn't paying attention. I ran my fastest laps behind him because I was trying to get back to the front, and I burnt my tires up that last run. That was the worst they were throughout the whole race. So, kind of there at the end, not really. I was cautious of it, but also I was wanting to win, so I was pushing harder than I should have. And then when we ended up getting when we ended up getting single file at the end, aero really does play a big game here, and I couldn't run right behind them. I would push and on the bottom because of my tires, it just didn't feel right. So I think it was the events how they played out.
Definitely seemed to play out like that, like you said there, Kevin. And man, still nonetheless a great run, and really showing a ton of speed once again when you're out here on the racetrack. I mean, what do you think you can take away from Kansas tonight, as we got still 2 mile and a half racetracks coming up with Darlington and Charlotte?
I'm not going to be any good at Charlotte. I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys that right now. That track really bothers me. But I don't know. I do need to work on the mile and a half a little bit better. I like to be conservative on the start of the run, save my tires, and I just got to figure out how to do that while still, keeping the guys that like to dive it in the corner behind me. It's like a fine line, and I just haven't figured that out yet.
Well, Kevin, this was an incredible run to see this 93 up front all night long. But before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout out.
Yeah, I'd like to shout out you guys, Freaky Fast, for the broadcast every week. We love what y'all do. Shout out all our sponsors, Shawnee's, Group Sigs. If I'm leaving some out, I'm sorry, but I shout out them as well. The admin team, I think we do an amazing job each week. We're working really hard to try to get the cautions calmed back down. We're really focusing on that. We want to get back to how the races used to be in this league, and not so many cautions. My teammates and everybody that helped me throughout the week on the setup, I'd like to give a shout out to Michael Hayes and Jamie for the good racing tonight. It was very clean, very respectful between us three. And yeah, if I left anybody out, I'm sorry.
Well, Kevin, it was an incredible run you had here tonight. A top 3 for yourself. Congratulations on that. Enjoy it, and enjoy this 2-week break also. And hopefully we'll talk to you more when we come back from this.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Oh, we move away from third place finisher of Kevin Powell, and we get to talk to 11th place finisher. We didn't get to talk to him last week, but we thought we'd give it another try. We have Tony Martin with us. Tony, you come away with an 11th place finish here tonight, but man, you looked fast here tonight. How was it being able to run up front for most of this race?
Yeah, thanks, Sammy. It was an awesome run. Started 11th and just kind of hanging in there and moved up, and the car felt real good. The longer the run went, the better it came in. Just trying to save some tires. Made it up towards the front and got caught in that off-cycle pit, and when the caution come out.
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately, caught up in that, that caution there with the cycle of pit stops to put you a little farther back there, Tony. But I tell you what, man, still nonetheless a great battle back to 11th there for yourself. I mean, after last week finishing 10th, how does it feel to be building up some momentum late in the season?
I'm loving it. It feels good. I'm finally starting to get my game going and getting some races in. It feels real good.
I mean, Tony, we've got ourselves 3 more races as we enter this break, 2-week break that we're going into. What are you going to be trying to learn over these next 2 races? I mean, next 2 weeks to prepare for these final 3 races?
I'm just still trying to learn how to save tires, how to keep from burning them off. I tend to overdrive the car, and the last couple of weeks being able to save some tires and being up front, it's kind of teaching me a little bit on how to keep it clean and get up front.
Well, we cannot wait to see how you're going to perform when we come back from this break, Tony. But before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Okay, thank you. Well, first off, I want to thank my wife for letting me for putting up with me while I do this. Thank you to you guys for doing the broadcast. I go back and rewatch it every week, and it's awesome. You guys do a fantastic job. And thank you to Daniel Wilkerson and all of the Doghouse Racing admin guys. They put on a fantastic show and fantastic league. Thank you.
Well, that will be the 2 machine of Tony Martin coming away with 11th place finish here tonight. Congratulations on a great run, Tony. Enjoy these 2 weeks off, and good luck when we come back for more racing action.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You too. As we go from our interviews, we get ready to take a look at our unofficial results here tonight. Again, got to see a little bit more cautions than past races here at Kansas, but it certainly did not let off on the amazing racing we got to see on screen. And we get to see a 2-time winner this season in the 22 of Michael Hayes. As we bring up the results, this 22 machine really got the finish that he needed to stay in the hunt for the championship. Second place will go to Jamie Horn. Third goes to 93 of Kevin Powell, as Cameron King going to take a top 5 finish, one of his best finishes of the season. In 4th place for the 92, Kevin King continue to touch on that with Kevin Thompson 5th, Eric Anderson 6th, Christopher Simon 7th, Nicholas Atwood 8th, 9th goes to Tyler Millette. Finishing out our top 10 is Jonathan Smith. But Zach, there are other drivers that really were hoping for better days tonight.
That they were. I tell you what, you had also the 56 of Gardner up there in that 12th position. He was leading late to go and fell back pretty strong there with those tires. And the one I think that sticks out more than anything here is going to be that 12 machine at Andrew St. Cour. Such a tough break for him, involved in that incident with Brandon Fetter place early in the race. And unfortunately for him, he's going to finish last on the lead lap in 19th and just salvage what he could. Still a great job nonetheless from him to salvage that. And just look through the rest of the order. I think another driver that sticks out to me is Chris Leftwich in that 8, qualifying on pole, ran great last week at Dover, and then blows the motor heading into 1. That was a tough break to see for that 18.
Extremely tough break to see the last 3 drivers being Raymond Hanneman and not making the start was Hunter Simpson or Joe McKnight. But a lot of this race came down to some of those cautions really changing up how the drivers had to set up their momentum, and the caution in the middle of a pit cycle really changed how these drivers had to focus for the rest of this race. I think if maybe there wasn't that caution in the middle of the pit cycle, I think we could have been calling a different winner here tonight, because the way that Kevin Thompson was running, him having slightly older tires and going through the field, Zach, I think that was the big thing that changed this race.
It really hurt Thompson's chances of winning for sure. I mean, he was going to have his hands full, with the likes of Powell and Horn, but, look at Hayes. I mean, he comes out of nowhere. He had that mistake of making the pit stop, like we said, to come down top off the car, feeling like that would be, what he needed, and it actually does turn out to be what he needed, because it gave him the fuel to stretch that run there to not have to pit. So it ends up actually helping him. So he thought something that maybe wasn't going to be good, turns out good, and Hayes ends up the winner. So it just shows you no race is over. You got to stay with it till the very end, because a caution flag can change any little thing.
Certainly can. And speaking of change, well, we got a change coming up for this upcoming week, as Monday night we find ourselves with the ISRC Lara Production Series, the start of the round of 12. It's the drivers. You liked Kansas here tonight, you're going to love it on Monday. The Truck Series try to tackle this track for 150 laps. Tuesday, still off, is the BRB Butt Kickers Series. Wednesday, though, excitement's in the air. A new season is upon us for the WSSR Cup Series, as their first race at Atlanta is next Wednesday. Do not want to miss it. There are a lot of new drivers and faces that are showing up for that race. And then Thursday night, we're off for the next 2 weeks. I think that's the one thing that I always hate, is when we get to these off weeks, it's 2 weeks that we're not going to be seeing racing on Thursdays, Zach.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's definitely 2 weeks of you know, a little downbeat for us because we love the Doghouse Racing Series so much. But I tell you what, these drivers love that first setup build. They love that little bit of extra time to get the test and probably get some other hobbies added in there just to get that little bit of break off of racing. But man, I tell you what, next week's racing is going to be amazing. Definitely are not going to want to miss out on that, folks. It's going to be a fun time up here at Freaky Fest.
It's going to be a fun one. Playoff racing and a brand new season starting up. You don't want to miss it. But for tonight, it is all cheers for the 22 of Michael Hayes, who chips away at the points gap lead between himself and Kevin Thompson. Andrew St. Cour, we're going to have to wait until we come back from 3 weeks from now to see what the major difference is going to be between the 12 and the 6 machine on the points battle. But for us here tonight, thanks for joining with us. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, for Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you for joining with us. And we cannot wait for more racing action. Thursdays are off, but if you want to see other great racing action, we got you covered next week for Wednesday, the brand new start of the WSSR, new season for them. And Monday night, the ISRC Truck Series, a new round, a track that can bring some great thrills. You don't want to miss it. It's Monday night, our next Freaky Fast broadcast.